Alright, so just a little bit more background while we're waiting. So if you're unfamiliar with Celeste, if this is your first time watching any of these races here on the Speed Gaming channels, like if you're here from another games community, Celeste was a game released earlier this year, I think in January, and the object of the game is to climb that mountain. Yeah, we're climbing Mount Celeste here. We see Madeline standing in front of the mountain in the splash screen. Pretty soon, there's the transition. Good timing there. Yeah, so the race should be starting shortly. We're just waiting on everyone to ready up in the race room. Okay, so Swesie is going to be the first runner to get started in the prologue. Obviously, there's going to be probably some sync to start out, and the RTA time really doesn't matter for this game. Like what we're going off is this in-game timer that you can see in the top left-hand corner of Swesie's screen. So Celeste has a fairly accurate in-game timer, so we sort of like to just use that rather than their means of timing these runs. So yeah, whoever gets the lowest time on that low top left corner timer, that's going to be the winner of the race. Yeah, prologue's very basic. It's just a tutorial level. I see some reference to prologue skip, so just to clarify that, basically there is a means of skipping this last scene of the prologue that you can see Flare and Hoettilla jumping through, but for the sake of the tournament, for the sake of the ease, we're kind of going with the rules that we established, so we're kind of not allowing that glitch that was found like literally less than 24 hours ago. So yeah, that's why you're seeing everyone just kind of going through the basic prologue motions. And Hoettilla, 50 seconds. They may have taken the unfortunate prologue death there, but yeah, that happens to everyone. Okay, so Swesie is going through chapter 1. So right now, and Hoettilla is joining him, so is Flare. So right now we can see like all kind of on full display, like all the hyper dashes, all the wall bounces. And just quick explanation. So a wall bounce is when you kind of time a wall jump while you're in the dash animation to kind of get more height and a little bit more speed while you're jumping up. And the extended hyper dash, which you just saw from Swesie there, basically we dash against the ground, and then with a correct timing, we jump, and that not only allows us to fly through the screen at incredible speed, but it allows us to retain our dash and use it again. So yeah, Swesie gets through that. Not a problem at all. Hoettilla and flarebear following closely behind here. Okay, so Swesie is going to be starting here on chapter 2. So yeah, chapter 2 is, again, like kind of basic stuff. You're just kind of dashing through stuff. This is also our introduction to the dream block mechanic, which Swesie is about to activate. So basically, we'll be shooting through these like really cool dream blocks with speed equivalent to our dash. So we'll see that for Swesie right here. Yeah, so these are one of the more fun mechanics, but Old Sight is a very short level. Like the first 5 minutes, like the first 4.5 minutes of the run should just be encompassing like, these first 2 levels. They're very quick. You see a lot of like really fast motion. Let's see here. Yeah, meanwhile, Hoettilla. Yeah, so Hoettilla is about to get out of chapter 1. Meanwhile, flarebear, yeah, you can definitely see that, they have a 35, but they're playing with controller. And in Celeste being a precision platformer, your muscle memory is definitely used to playing a certain way when you have the right tools in hand. So there are a lot of keyboard players in this community, like people who play on the keyboard normally, but again, they have probably been playing on keyboard since they got this game, whereas Flavor is probably just completely used to controller, and now they have to like relearn this game on the fly, and that might open the door for Hoettilla to grab the upset here. Okay, you need to take a second to refresh the stream apparently, and yeah, so Swesie is getting through the battle line section, which we can also see Giselle in, and Hoettilla just started. So yeah, the battle line section, basically battle line follows us through with she mimics our movements on a 3-second delay, and yeah, so we just have to avoid her, and we also have to like route out our movements specifically to avoid her. All right, so Swesie going through the awake section, which we should see either Giselle or Hoettilla join him in pretty short order. Yeah, so awake is where you can definitely tell a more experienced runner from someone who may be like a little bit newer to the game, or someone who's like kind of still learning the game, just because like it's a lot of fluid movement. There's nothing there that can really kill you, so the only thing that you kind of have to do to get through that is just time your jumps really impeccably. And you kind of saw from Swesie that's really smooth movement, really crisp, and run into a ton of walls and clip a lot of corners. So yeah, that's another way that you can tell an experienced runner apart from maybe someone who's newer is how they play in Celestial Resort. So Resort, we encounter a ton of enemies in the form of these dust bunnies that are on cycles. So there's usually a couple cycles to. So there's usually like 2 entrance cycle and a death cycle. So yeah, the death cycle is basically. Ooh, yeah, Swesie just barely missing that platform. So the death cycle, as you can see here, that's the same cycle that starts about half a second earlier. So runners usually have to memorize 2 different ways to get through each room in order to like, recover correctly. All right, and then Giselle and Hoettilla, both out of old sight. Giselle looks to be like 5 seconds behind, a little bit behind in her race with Swesie though. So yeah, and again, you can see flarebear really struggling to adapt to this new controller that he has to use. Yeah, again, like this game, you really have to like learn it, get the muscle memory down. But yeah, it's a really good show of him to like not postpone the race and kind of like keep on going, keep on trucking. Really cool to see him just like persevere through an unideal situation for anyone. Okay, so meanwhile, Swesie's starting the huge mess section. So the way that the game lets us know if we have a dash or not is Madeline will be red when she's able to dash, and she'll be blue when we're not able to dash. And when you watch this section that Swesie just went through, a really good runner, you'll never see a red Madeline roaming through those like tiles and books and boxes. Like it'll just be constantly blue, just because like you have to constantly dash and hold down and get these like really precise wall bounces for fast movement in that section. But yeah, Swesie's making it through pretty well. Okay, so through the huge match portion of the level, which Giselle and Hoettilla should be joining in fairly short order here. I think Hoettilla is just about to get through that first screen with all the stuff blocking the key. But basically, there are 3 different sections of messes that we have to clean out, and we clean them out in a specific order because after we clean up the mess, we have to find Mr. Oshiro, this nice little ghost boy who kind of follows us around through this entire level, and talk to him. And we clear these in a specific order so that when we leave this room, like Swesie's about to do, we just talk to him and we're just right there next to him. We don't have to like look for him. So yeah. So Hoettilla right there just executed a pretty nifty spike jump on the first try. So spike jumps are kind of a misnomer. We're really jumping off of the wall that's behind the spike, but again, that's like a very precise trick that you have to pull off. But getting your first try, very well done. And going under to get to the next room, I've never seen this particular route before, but yeah, that's fairly interesting. I like it. Yeah, meanwhile, looks like chat's kind of like all keeping up with flarebear here, and kind of rightfully so, because like it is kind of entertaining. There is a lot of entertainment value in watching someone who's like obviously an expert in this game. You know, not a lot of people have a 35, and like having to watch them virtually relearn the game. And meanwhile, Swesie getting through the elevator shaft section of Celestial Resort in rather nice time. Yeah. Yeah, getting through one of these long rooms that Celestial Resort is known for, where basically you just have to get through the screen efficiently without dying. Nice to see him get that. Yeah, you can definitely see why Celestial Resort may be a little bit of a block for newer runners, simply because like not just learning the cycles, but learning how to move fast through these cycles can be a little bit of a daunting task. But once you start to get everything down, it's very fast. It's very satisfying to like, you know, do the movement that you can kind of see on display for Swesie. So yeah, we'll see how Hoettilla and Giselle kind of approach their own bouts with Oshiro, who we have made angry through various plot stuff. On the last Oshiro screen, looked like he took a couple of those jumps a little bit slow, just trying to not to die on that incredibly long screen, but he gets through, he makes it out of resort with a 940 on the timer, which is a very solid time. Right, meanwhile, in this semi-unofficial race we got going on between our two runners on the top left, yeah, we can see Hoettilla kind of taking it slow in this room. A lot of runners will utilize a strat where you just like do 4 hyper dashes in order to reach that key as fast as possible, but controlling those hyper dashes is tricky, and if you don't get enough, and like it's definitely the sort of thing where like if you don't get it first try, you can definitely kind of get yourself in for it, not failing, going for it, failing. So taking it safe, just making sure that they get through, making progress. Yeah, so we'll see how Giselle approaches this room. Yep, going for the hyper dash strat. Yeah, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about, where you're trying to like go for this one specific thing, and it's really fast and really satisfying when you get it, but you can definitely like catch yourself in this cycle where you're just kind of trying to trust yourself to like kind of overcome whatever difficulties you're having. Oh, and barely misses the last platform there. But yeah, you can definitely see like 2 divergent approaches to like running this game. Like some runners will kind of pick and choose what tricks that they want to use. Finally gets it, very nice. Yeah, you'll see some runners like kind of, you know, take on some strats and then get to a certain time and then say, okay, I want to lower time, now I have to learn these strats. And then other runners are just kind of saying, I want to learn all the things, and they'll go for all the things. So yeah, it's a divergence of philosophies on those bottom 2 races. But again, they're not racing each other. Giselle's racing Swesie, Hoettilla, and flarebear going for the spike jump on keyboard. Yeah, man. Oh, that was close. All right, gets it. That is really solid work from flarebear. Yeah. All right, so meanwhile, Swesie has been making good time through Golden Ridge this whole time, you know, to be expected. Like, Golden Ridge is another level that's, you know, kind of really tricky to navigate. Like, it's not like Resort where there's like a lot of stuff you have to learn. It's just that there's like, I mean, there is a lot of stuff, but it's like all very little precise stuff. Like, you might see him go for, yeah, he goes for a hyper dash off that block. That saves 2 seconds if you control your dash and you don't run into that wall of spikes. But if you do run into those spikes, you just lose a ton of time. And almost every trick in Golden Ridge is kind of like that. Like, it saves some time, but loses a lot of time. So it's definitely like a position that you have to think about. All right, so Swesie now navigating the snowball section of Golden Ridge. So the snowballs, they kind of operate like Gesellschaft, or not Giselle, they kind of operate like Oshiro does on Giselle's side of the screen, where they kind of track your vertical position. Oshiro comes in from the left, snowballs come in from the right, but unlike Oshiro, visual indication of where he's going to hit you with that lightning bolt, snowballs just kind of whap you in the face, and you just kind of have to trust that you're moving in a way that the snowballs aren't going to hit you. But again, not an issue for Swesie. Get through this fun little section with the wind blowing you all the way to the right. Swesie gets out of Golden Ridge as Hoettilla's in the middle, going for this tiny little auto-scroller skip where jump onto that platform next to spike jump, gets on second try. Now goes for this kind of precise wall bounce here where, yep, finally gets that on the second try. Yeah, basically like the spike hitboxes, ooh, that was rough there. But yeah, basically the spike hitboxes, they're kind of smaller than they look. Like, they're more intimidating than they look. So someone discovered that if you just like sidle up against those spikes at just the right point. Oh, that's an interesting second auto-scroll skip setup from Hoettilla. But yeah, someone discovered that like if you go against the spikes at a certain point, like you're able to just like float through them, wall bounce against like a tiny portion of the wall and skip that first auto-scroller. And then there's a second auto-scroller skip where you just dash again very precisely and skip another 3 seconds riding a block. Alright, so meanwhile, Swesie's starting Mirror Temple, which is a really cool section of the run just because, like, you get this like really cool movement section where you're just kind of like executing like these really fun tricks and, you know, again, just like kind of solid, really fun movement. And then the second half is just kind of like the only part of the run, I'd say, where you have to, where like your ability to improvise comes into play, but we'll be seeing that from Swesie in just a second here. Meanwhile, Flarebear is out of a huge mess, and again, oh, nice hyper dash room from Flarebear. Yeah, and those are just like crouches right there. That was incredible. I'm glad I picked that exact moment to focus on them. Okay, so Hoettilla is going through their own harsh wind section with the snowballs as Giselle is about to get through the old trail about the halfway point of Golden Ridge. So yeah, and meanwhile, Swesie is about to encounter the Seekers. So Seekers kind of operate on AI. So we have to kind of... So we are able to use them to pull out some, like, you know, really neat tricks. But again, Seekers do have a mind of their own, and sometimes they don't do exactly what we want them to do. So, you know, again, just like Oshira and Snowballs, they will lock in on our position, but they will just kind of float at us by any means necessary. Yeah, so there, Swesie just kind of gets a hyper dash and a bunny hop to bounce under him. Then he uses the way the Seeker moves to trigger one of these key coins to open that door. And again, the strat that he was going for, he was going to use that Seeker to trigger that switch on the bottom, but couldn't get it, so he had to, you know, think on the fly, go, okay, I had to fall down and just kind of do this myself. Alright. Meanwhile, Hoettilla makes it out of Golden Ridge. They will be joining Swesie in Mirror Temple. Alright, so Swesie coming up on one of the most important tricks of the run. Yeah, so he gets Surge Skip first try, as kind of expected. Surge Skip is going to be the first trick that you learn if you're going to be learning the game at all, because that saves us all like minute 15. It's easily the biggest skip that we have in this game. And oh, but doesn't quite get the jump that he's going for. Has to interact with the Seeker a little bit more than he has to, but finally gets through. Again, very quick thinking right there. Flare is out of Celestial Resort, and we're now going to be seeing how they handle the Mirror Temple. Or not the Mirror Temple, but Golden Ridge. Yeah, no level skips. Okay, so Swesie's now in the Theo rescue section. So Theo is unlike any other mechanic in the game because when we're holding our friend in the crystal, we're not able to dash. So what we have to do is we kind of have to throw him in the air a little bit, dash, and then grab him so that we can retain our momentum, and so that we can regain our dash momentum, and we can still move forward fast, but still taking Theo to the other side of the screen. Yes, Swesie having very little trouble with this section, with this part of the run. Alright, meanwhile Giselle is in the harsh wind section here. I get to those first few screens, yeah, it takes the death by snowball. Just barely got nicked by it, but yeah, if the snowball hits you, it just kind of hits you. There's no actual sound effect that plays, it just hits you and you just feel embarrassed for a hot second. But yeah, makes it through, progressing nicely. In the last couple screens, Golden Ridge should be out of here in relatively short order. Alright, meanwhile Swesie gets out of Mirror Temple, evidently not without some trouble with Theo. Sometimes you gotta find a way to take out your frustration. I get it, but yeah. Into Reflection, where we're introduced to these feathers, which allow us to kind of, floaters are, exactly what they let you do exactly what you think you do, fly through the screen, but they also allow full range of movement. So Madeline can only move in 8 different directions. Feathers allow us full 360-degree movement, so if someone's running on controller, they will be able to just move 360 degrees, and it allows for a little bit more precise movement, and it also allows you to keep more speed. Alright, so meanwhile Hoettilla has to kind of dance around with the Seeker. Oh man, this is a rough screen to take a death on, simply because now you have to reactivate all these switches, and you have to again deal with what the Seeker is going to give you. Like someone pointed out in chat, if you move the same way through the level, you can mostly guarantee how the Seekers are going to move. You're never really going into this blind. It's more or less scripted, but yeah, sometimes Seekers don't quite do what you want it. Yeah, Hoettilla gets it on the second try, I think, there, and they are going to be heading to their own certificate section. We got Giselle starting Mirror Temple for herself. And Swesie is getting through the first half of Reflection pretty okay here. Yeah, Reflection is kind of one of those levels where a death here can feel kind of... Yeah, deaths here can definitely start to change, just because everything here, once you get to a certain level of experience, it can kind of start to feel easy taken individually, but this is also one of the longer levels in the run. So if you take a death on any of these screens, you can kind of start to feel bad and let it just kind of collect in your head. But yeah, Swesie not really having a problem with that right now. Alright, yeah, meanwhile, Flarebear, again, still adjusting to the reality of having to race on keyboard, but, making it through. Doesn't quite get the height that they need to get that on the first try, but gets it on the second try, and yep, just now in a room with one of these auto-scrollers. Oh, nice recovery. Oh yeah, and Hoettilla in the Theo section taking not the worst death you can take in this Seeker section, but still, not a fun one either. Yeah, again, this can also be, one of the more tricky sections for a new run to learn, because, again, this is unlike anything else in the game, so it does take some doing to get used to some of the mechanics that you have to do, like some of the techniques that you have to use. But yeah, Hoettilla getting through it, with pretty decent pace, as Swesie is in the only real swimming section of this game. Swimming in this game is only 5 seconds long, and it's, mercifully short, I would say. Okay, so now we have Swesie starting the battle line fight. Basically, after a full game of battle line telling us that we're not able to climb a mountain and we should just go home, we finally had enough and we, battle her and we try to get her to accept that, we are good people and, we deserve to try our best all the time and whatnot, plot. So basically we just have to knock into battle line repeatedly. And see people naming their favorite Outkast song in the chat. I'm partial to something playlistic. Messed up the name of the song, but you get the joke I'm going for. Anywho. Yeah, flarebear taking a moment to check his keyboard configuration just to make sure, just to maybe make the section a little bit more comfortable for him. Okay, so Hoettilla getting through the end of this, getting to this last screen of the Theo rescue. Oh, I don't think he got the strat that he was going for. So again, now he has to kind of think on the fly, think about where he needs to go. Yeah, gets a secret kill, which is helpful. Gets some nice, helpful little speed there, and yeah, he is through. That was pretty quick thinking. Again, like, Secret can be one of the more fun sections of the, or Rescue can be one of the more fun sections of this game to watch, and because like it's one of the few places where you can definitely see like Renner's ability to like kind of shine through. Alright, so meanwhile, Swesie going through this cutscene that's not a cutscene because we can move, and then they're gonna skip this next cutscene, and we're into the remix section of the Theo fight where the music kind of glitches out a little bit. And again, like, it's kind of the same as the other parts of the level. Like, you're trying not to die because these are very long screens with, like these short but, still kind of time-consuming cutscenes where you just kind of bounce off battle line, and they're trying to get to the ground as fast as possible so that they can continue chaining their moves. Yeah, they're having a very solid reflection fight if I've been paying enough attention to them. Meanwhile, Hoettilla going for Lake Skip here. So Lake Skip is one of those tricks where basically you're wall bouncing off of this and... Okay, oh! Yeah, I can definitely see what they were going for there. They were trying to like get a wall bounce in the water so that when they jumped up, they would have another dash so they could do another wall bounce off this wall with spikes to skip that little ride on the Crusher block. But unfortunately, it took them a few tries to get it, and when they did almost get it, they died, so they just decided to play it safe and go for the, more traditional strat of just hitting the Kevin block. Or Crusher block. We call them Kevin blocks because of the dude who make the blah, 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 blah noise that they make is named Kevin, but yeah. And meanwhile, we got Giselle in the Seeker section, gets a nice little bop on that Seeker for good measure. Okay, so Swesie is out of reflection. He gains the ability to double dash. Like, basically one of the themes of the plot is self-acceptance, and as we all know, when you're at peace with yourself, you gain the ability to dash twice in the air, as happens. So now he will be going on to the summit, where, basically we're going to revisit all the levels with their newfound double dash ability. Meanwhile, chat asking about PB. So Swesie's at a 3619, so PB is... maybe... I'm not sure if PB is going to be in the cards for them. They would need like a really solid summit, like a sub-10 summit, so... yeah, we'll have to see about that. Hoettilla is at a 4708, so if they can get through Reflection and Summon in pretty good time, that is certainly... that might be a possibility. Flare's at a 35. That's not happening. They are racing under some weird conditions. And Giselle, I didn't get confirmation, but they're listed at 2 hours, but I don't think we're going to be taking it 2 hours to get through this run. Yeah, Giselle gets out of the mirror at 27:39, which is definitely what you want to see if you're going for that sub 1, Okay, getting confirmation that Giselle's PB is a 55 as of yesterday, so yeah, that's very cool to see. Oh, very nice leg skip from Giselle. Yeah, it looked like that was first try, but I also had to refresh the stream, so ooh, and yeah, misses that little wave dash. Okay, apparently that's how you recover from that. You just fall down. Nice to see. Alright. Yeah, very solid. Again, you know, like, has the execution ability to get the leg skip, but ooh, and yeah, it kind of takes a death there, but yeah, has the execution ability to get that leg skip, but also the quick thinking to recover from, like, when one of the tricks didn't fail. Meanwhile, Hoettilla is at this section of reflection with this like little Devon-tended skip where there's a little notch in this like little cluster of spikes where you can just kind of fall through it, but it is risky to take. So I think Hoettilla took a safety strat through that section, which is absolutely respectable because the death there sends you all the way to the back and it's a multi-second time loss. Alright, meanwhile, Swesie is making really solid time through Summit here. Getting through the first 3 sections in relatively short order. Yeah, we see the last of the Dream Blocks, which is, again, one of the cooler mechanics, and we're greeted again by the Dust Bunnies, which are one of the more draggier mechanics, just because now, yay, it cycles, they're back, yay. Yeah, so Swesie in one of these longer rooms right here where, yeah, again, like it's long, you have to time your movement exactly to get through these cycles quickly. It did take a death about halfway through, which again can be rather costly, especially if you're going, you know, for like a PB or something meaningful. But yeah, they have this race well in hands, but yeah, you still don't really want to take a death in any of these screens, and because like you don't want to lose time no matter what situation you're in, you know? Alright, meanwhile, flarebear going for surge skip on keyboard. And again, it's just a situation where like flarebear knows the buttons that they have to press, but it's just like having these buttons in a different configuration. Like they don't have the muscle memory for this quite yet. So yeah, again, it's unfortunate, but again, kudos to them for giving us this race, and kudos to all the runners for racing today. If you haven't already, definitely check out their streams. Give them a follow, type !R in chat, because they're all very talented. A couple of them run a multitude of different games, so yeah, definitely check these people out. They're putting on a really good show for us. Alright. Meanwhile, we got Hoettilla in the battle line fight. I think they're about a screen away from the remix portion, so yeah, they only have like a few screens left, so making very solid progress through this level. They do have a green timer, so might have to keep a look. Ooh, and that's... Yeah, taking a death at the end of any of these screens can be especially rough, because again, you have to go through this entire long section again, and there's not really a real way to speed it up. Like, you can go for tiny optimizations, like holding down so that Madeline floats down ever so slightly faster, but yeah, it's still not a step you want to take right there. And meanwhile, we get Swesie at the end of 2,000 meters here, taking this tiny little optimization where he dashes out of this like throwing animation that Madeline puts you in when she throws you up, and so that he can like kind of sneak under some spikes and get to where they need to go faster. So yeah, really solid stuff. Alright, so flarebear in the rescue section, where again they'll need to relearn everything about Celeste so that they can get through the section on keyboard, but still. Yeah, getting here is just really solid work. Getting here quickly, yeah. Alright, so Hoettilla here at the end of the battle line fight, and this is looking like it should be a sub-34 battle line exit. So, you know, depending on how good their summon is, this could absolutely be a PB for Hoettilla. So, yeah, we'll have to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that, because, yeah, this is solid. And meanwhile, we're going for door skip. We're going for door skip. We got door skip. GG, Swesie. Swesie having a little bit of trouble with this last block. Doesn't take a death, which is the worst thing you can do on the screen, because like that's a long little section of the level. But yep, finally gets through it, and he is on to 3,000 meters, the summit of summit. So basically, after revisiting all the chapters that we played previously, now we're kind of at the top of the mountain, and now we're just going to be climbing this like new section with its new aesthetic and new mechanics, such as this downdraft. Yeah, so Summon basically just plays with gravity a little bit. So Downdraft is like a heavy wind that forces you down, as opposed to Golden Ridge, where it sends you to the right or the left. And so basically you just have to like, moving quickly here just involves like, very rapid inputs, like getting these really precise wall bounces, getting these really precise jumps to kind of avoid having to make like extra little wall jumps. But yeah, Swesie's getting through here with pretty solid time, I'd say. Alright, meanwhile, flarebear gets through the Theo section and he will be joining Gesellschaft in Reflection. Though the Giselle is over here in the battle line fight, so they're going to be finishing up Reflection just a little bit before Flare. Yeah, solid recovery there. Didn't quite get onto that platform, but just like kind of knew to hide a little bit to avoid the laser, because like playing it safe there is faster than taking that death. Right, meanwhile, Swesie here in Updraft. So Updraft obviously being the opposite of Downdraft, where now instead of forcing us down, the gravity's kind of forcing us up, so it's a lot floatier. You have a little bit less control over Madeline. Yeah, get through a couple of the longer screens in Summit and in Updraft with pretty good ease. Oh, it doesn't quite... Yeah, that was the kind of dash mismanagement there. He was supposed to retain one of those dashes so that he could hit that dash crystal, which, as you've probably been noticing throughout this run, does refresh the dash. Yeah, it does manage to get through, and yeah, this is pretty, again, still pretty good stuff from Swesie right now. Skipping that flag because, even if you take a death on this pretty, relatively to the rest of Summit easy section, like, it's still as fast to just go through checkpoint 9 again than it would be to restart from checkpoint 8. Yeah, so Swesie is here on pretty decent time. Yeah, needs to avoid a major misstep here, but yeah, this could absolutely be like one of those. This could absolutely be one of those like tourney race PPs that the Celeste Tournament has been seeing all the time. Though of course now they've said it, hopefully nothing bad comes of it. Yeah, it gets to flag 1, and as long as we avoid the revo, we should be. Yeah, you're definitely. Oh no! Oh, yikes! Okay, I feel partially responsible for that. So, sorry about that. So this should be yeah. So it doesn't quite get the 35, but yeah, makes it 36.06. Still a 13-second PB. So get your GGs in the chat. Yeah, really incredible effort from Swesie getting the PB in the race and taking the victory. Yeah, well done. Okay, so meanwhile, Hoettilla is over here in 1,500 meters. Yeah, again, their PB is a 47.08, so they just need to have 10 minutes or 9 minutes, I should say, to get through the rest of this level. So yeah, we'll still have to keep track. And meanwhile, Gesellschaft is out of reflection, gets their own double dash, as flarebear is, still making pretty good progress through. Definitely see, like, they're probably used to, all right, that works. to playing with the feathers on D-pad, so this is definitely going to be a pretty huge adjustment for them. All right, so now we have Swesie joining us here in the booth. How are you feeling about that, Swesie?
I want to die.
Yeah, I can't help but take. Yeah.
I'm angry. I'm sad.
Yeah, I can't help but feel partially responsible because I said as you're on flag 1, as long as you avoid the revo, and then that happened. So
yeah, it was all your fault. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to take a moment for that one. Yeah, absolutely, I believe it.
Oh, I'm really surprised with how well that went because I've been slacking a lot, haven't been practicing much, and I have just been doing everything else but Celeste 90%. And yesterday I tried to do a run and was like 2 minutes behind PB, and then this happened.
Yeah, no, that can happen sometimes where you're just kind of like, if you take a break from the game, like you can come back like a little bit refreshed. So yeah, and also just want to point out Hoettilla grabbed the swag berry there. Nice.
Good shit.
Alright, so thinking about your tournament, so I think this was about your 4th win, if I recall correctly?
Yep. So it was also my last race of group stages.
Yeah, definitely solid. So I think that puts you in pretty decent position for the bracket stages. How do you feel about that right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty. What's up? It was basically as expected, so I'm not really. I don't know what to say. I'm happy with it, I guess.
No, yeah, fair enough. Well, if you want to get, back to whatever you were doing, feel free to do that. Otherwise, if you want to stay here and, join me for commentary, that'd also be nice.
Yeah, sure, why not? You've been talking too much. Let me just bring up the thing. Give me a second.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I kind of feel I've been just saying words.
Yeah, that's fair. But now you have me.
All right, hooray. So
let's see. Where are we?
Yes, I think Hoettilla's on pretty solid pace right now. He might be entering 3,000 meters with about a 42 on the timer against a PB of 47.08, so that could be interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's going for door skip. Oh,
Yep,
nope.
sure is.
Come on, Hoettilla, you can do it. Okay, he decides not to. Fair.
Yeah, fair enough. He went for it twice. I respect that.
He's going for the second one. Oh, man. No, stop, Hoettilla. No. Thank you.
Yeah, just had to make sure that he was able to get that second one. Like, you know, first one didn't work, maybe second one would. So yeah, again, respect.